We work in the same house. And I hear calls all day going on up there, and you're like, oh, I was just talking to Robin Williams' kids. How did you do that? How did you get a hold of them?
I spoke at an event that Robin Williams' daughter-in-law was also speaking at. She had a beautiful story, and I recognized her even before she spoke. And I just approached her. I was like, I love your story. We have these things in common. Do you ever do podcast interviews? I'd love to have you on my podcast. And she was like, yeah, of course. And then we just kept in touch with that. It is important for you, whoever is the attractive character or the leader of the business, to still have a pulse on real connections with real people.
Well, everybody, I would love it if we give a big round of applause for Miss Marley Jax. Woo!
Thank you.
And we're going to do something a little different here. We are actually, let me turn this thing over. Do you guys, you guys know we have a podcast called Rare Things Out? You
Look,
seen
it's
this at all?
us.
Rare things.
We should make a jingle.
For things that are rare.
Ba-bow.
We thought it'd be fun. So Marley's going to share with us some cool things she does for outreach. It is literally because of her that there is a Rare Things show, and it's also because of her that we have cool people coming on it. So not only, we were just talking back there, and we realized that it'd be neat to go through and share outreach for sales, but it's actually the same thing that she does for just reaching out to big famous people. Case in point, we haven't done it yet, but it's soon. Mm-hmm. Interviewing whose kids again?
Robin Williams' kids. Isn't that cool?
She's very good at this. It's not just like, in fact, most of you who are in this room also, that was not me messaging you, that was Marley.
Hi, Bishop.
I don't know what it is. Marley just touches my phone and gold comes out of it. So
with help. I mean, I'm writing it being like, who do you know here? The relationship, you know.
Yeah. But we thought it'd be fun to go through and do like an episode that's a little bit unique where we actually do. So if it's all right, we'll use you guys also. We'll make a podcast episode right now, but also one that kind of talks about how this outreach process goes, because it's the same thing. I watch you do it for sales and for relationships, which turn into sales. So it's for both.
Yeah, or just connections, JVs, podcast interviews, or just friendships, like being friends with cool people that you admire.
It's not a skill set that I have. So I just want to start off. We're going to start off real quick. And if you have questions, go ahead and ask them as well. But we it's not a joke. Like, I'm not great at reaching out to people. I'm just not. So much so that family and friends even ask, like, if I'm alive still, and they find out through Marley that I am. Like, I don't know. Anyone not have that skill set? You just like, you're super independent, almost fiercely to a fault. And so any form of like dream 100ing, and I'm going to go out and create relationships, and relationships are money, and your network is your net worth, and all that stuff. And I'm just like, shoot me, you know, like, are you guys that way a little bit? Like I am. And so it's not a natural skill set. And so every time I've seen Marley go use this very, very real skill set, often not only is it a shorter road to making the same amount of money that I'm going through to like make that money, right? So it's a shorter road towards the cash, but it also creates a real relationship for future cool things moving forward. So that was why I wanted to ask if Marley would stand up here, you know, or sit up here with and go through and share like what she does. I'm not even kidding. It was like 3 or 4 nights ago. She just walks in and she's like, you know, it'd be so fun is if I just spent like 2 hours just like reaching out to all these people who are in your DMs. And I'm like, that sounds terrible, right? and sure enough, she did. She's singing and there's like, and I'm just watching this stuff fly. And we got 4 booked calls that night in those 2 hours of people who were trying to pay me. And like, I don't know, it's nuts. So with that, that's why I thought we'd ask this.
I think it also, though, yes, you can do cold outreach to people, but Stephen, you also have a great system set up because you have content that has attracted an audience, and then you also have the funnels that will convert the audience, and then sometimes it's just the stuff in between. So yes, there is the communication to a cold audience, but also the stuff that you've set up for your warm audience makes it easier to then attract the cold audience. So that's also to say, like, for what everyone else here is setting up for their businesses, to have the relationships, the funnel to convert them, but then also the mindset that you can do it. And that mindset can also can come from taking the action and doing it. Cause I feel like it's just knowing how to do it and what to do and what to say that will make it easy. Sometimes people just get too much in their head of like, I have to do this thing and I don't know how, so therefore I don't want to. But it's funny when you were saying like, can you share this? I was like, I don't know how to explain what I do. to put it very simply, and I'm sure you'll help to pull out of me like what the real process is. I have a list of people kind of just in order based on temperature, like the hottest leads to then the coldest leads, and I go for the lowest hanging fruit first.
And you do it for a sales scenario and just a straight up relationship scenario too,
Yep.
right? We have two different, but do you guys have a list? You know what I mean? Like I barely, as of like a week ago, have a list, you know, like besides an email list. Like these are running lists that you have. How often do you look at them?
Every day. I have a revenue routine. And
It's awesome.
At minimum, if all you do is DM 5 people and do 5 also follow-ups from the day before, you're going to keep filling your pipeline. Like it's so simple. It's stupid, I think.
Yeah, you exploded though once you started doing this. Like, what are you doing? Because we'll work in the same house, and she works in another room, and I work in another. And you know, it feels like I'll be hammering away. We usually listen to some sexy Russian house music, you know, just like building stuff. And then I hear calls all day going on up there, and you're like, oh, I was just talking to Robin Williams' kids. Oh, I was just talking to. How did you do that? How did you get a hold of them? Meanwhile, my approach to doing that is build another funnel, do another event, whatever. And you're like, I just talked to them. Like, there's no way it's that simple. Right. But you do have it is magic.
I think also removing an outcome of, because I just talked to them. Yeah. I wasn't talking to them for a transaction or an exchange yet. It might lead to it, but sometimes it's just talking about them, caring about them as a human being. And I think that's the basis of business, is caring about a human enough to know what their problem is and caring about them enough to also help them find a solution, whether that solution is me or a referral or a piece of content or a person, place, thing that I can send them to. So when I was talking about, I reach out to people in order of temperature first. I guess, like, if we look at the list from hot to cold, who are the hottest leads that you have? People who have bought something from you already. Go to your people who have bought anything, even if they just spent $1. They've taken out their credit card. They've qualified themselves by saying, I will give you at least $1, which means that the second $1 is a lot easier to earn as well. They already know who you are. And likely if they've gotten your product, hopefully you've blown their minds and given them some value, that then it makes sense for them to see the next thing that you can offer them. If all you did was also send a DM or an email or pick up the phone and call someone that opted into your funnel or bought something from your funnel, that would go such a long way. Because who does that? Not many people do that. So if you do that and it's genuinely you, which sometimes people will be like, is this really Marley or is this a bot? And then I'll send back a video, I'll be like, hi, it's actually me.
I did that.
And then they're so impressed by that. And I'm like, yeah, no, seriously, like, what? I saw you opted into this. Just want to make sure you got this. Do you have any other questions? Anything I can help you with? I'll look at their profile too, to be like, oh, I saw you just went to Disney. Where rides are you going on? Like, you know, what restaurants are you doing? Whatever. Like, have a genuine conversation as a genuine human to another.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I remember Robbie told me that they, you know, for a long time, ClickFunnels was getting 1,000 to 3,000 trials a day. Just that's how many people went to the page and got a trial. It's just insane, a number of people. And they dropped their churn by 15% simply by Robbie calling them when they got a trial. That's it. He said, hey, how you doing? Questions? Mm-hmm. And often it led to more sales just on that one piece. You know, and I think that's maybe one of the dangers of the internet marketing space, is that you automate too much, or you literally remove the human element from the whole equation. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So that's
going to help the churn, and it's also going to help the show rates for future things, because they've already talked to a human. So if they book a sales call for something, and if they don't show up to it, it's like, oh, well, they already made the connection with Robbie. Oh, Robbie, hey, yes, sir, you didn't come up to that call. Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me reschedule it. Or they'll either communicate with the human that first touched base with them, or they won't no show as much because they know that it's an actual human that they've connected with.
So you wake up and you have a very similar routine for this, and I've noticed this. It's like, is it the first thing that you do? Could you walk us through what it is again? It's 5 out, 5 return.
5 outreach, and I call them my money on the table leads. And I just keep filling this pipeline of my money on the table. And I'll also organize them into, is this a potential lead that will buy something? Is this a potential lead for a podcast? Is this someone for a JV? Or is this just like a relationship that I don't know where to categorize it yet, but it's someone that we have things in common and I want to get to know them?
Yeah.
And that's great too. Like if I just enjoy their content, but maybe I don't know how we could potentially work together. There isn't always that exchange right up front. So yeah, I do my 5 outreach, and it's like 5 minimum, which it's very easy to also do more. Like I was in a launch a couple weeks ago, and I think I did 500 outreach over a weekend. But I also had a process that like I knew exactly what I was going to say at each stage of the outreach. Not that it was a copy and paste, like I'm just going to say the same thing, but it was like I knew the direction that I was going to go with, hey, this is starting on Monday, do you want to join? I'm trying to remember what my message was, because I'm very particular about how it comes across.
Yeah, you're not copying and pasting.
No, and also so many people can copy and paste that I never want to get drowned out in the noise of everyone else that's copying and pasting. So the way that I do that is I might do a little bit of research on their end to see stuff on their profile that I can be personalized, or I just make my message sound personalized. And the way that I do that is I will talk to ChatGPT. And what I mean by talk to ChatGPT is like, don't type into ChatGPT. I will actually turn on the audio record function,
thing, yeah.
And I will talk to it, and I will ramble, and I'll go on for as long as I can, and then I'll say like, please put that into a message that's concise and cool, and not like slimy sliding into the DMs, and is just like a subtle invitation, and then it'll come up with something, and then I'll just tweak back and forth until it's something that I like.
It's funny because every time you do it with my phone, like you'll hand it back, and my phone will be hot. Like physically hot. It's like she's still
Typing up a storm.
Yeah, she's going back and forth between apps, but I also will notice that ChatGPT is always open, and she's speaking to it and saying, hey, this person, I think, is trying to figure out if I'm a real human being. Could you help them know I'm a real human being in a funny, silly way that doesn't sound like I'm actually a bot, because I'm not, because I'm real. And I want
But
them
it's
to
funny
come to
that
my
I'm
thing,
asking a bot for help with that.
Yeah, it's funny. She'll ramble and then click stop on the voice part, and then you just click submit, and it's this huge document of like transcription of what she said. And every time you do that, I always get way more out of ChatGPT.
Oh, because you also
way more.
You will say more than you can type. Like if I have to type something out, like, hey, make this sound cool, blah blah. If I just talk, I'll think of something as I'm talking and I'm rambling, and ChatGPT will make sense of it. And then you just keep going back and forth until it's something that you like. Because I think just the most important part of this is that you feel what you're sending.
Yeah.
Because if you're just sending a copy and paste, like, okay, I'm just going to get through this list, I think that there's, like, if I can go woo-hoo for a second, I think people feel that. And if my message, it just has so much conviction and like, hey, this event happening on Thursday is amazing. I would love to have you there. I really genuinely mean that. However you want to say that in the message, that's going to come through instead of just, yeah, I had a list of 100 people and I'm just going to hit copy and paste to everyone, and hopefully I get at least a 10% conversion and some people show up.
Which is essentially what you're doing with an email, right?
Sure.
And I feel like that is you copy paste throughout the whole thing, but it's cool because something like DMs allows for the personalization. And it seems like when people mess it up is they don't do the personalization, and they just, it's a blanket.
Yeah.
Right? It's blast all over the place. I'm like super tempted to pull up ChatGPT.
Sure.
Do you want to? Let me get my phone.
Or do you need to screen?
You just do it right off my laptop.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
There it is. There's one.
Okay, check it out. Yeah, so this is you doing it, right?
Yeah, so someone was like, hey, I'm interested in Titans, but I don't think that I need marketing and scaling. I need disruption. And I was like, it's
my buddy
almost like
Lawrence, who's supposed to be in Titans. Lawrence, join!
it's almost like Steven's writing a book on disruption. So I was like, how do I just actually say that with some humor? And I can't see what I said. I actually, I didn't use exactly this, because some of it, if it sounds too robotic, like, hey, well, let me tell you, it's a group for scaling and blah, blah, blah.
Let's go put what is it, red hot? If you want red hot leads joining in, it's like AI wrote that.
Yeah.
You guys can tell when AI writes crap.
Let's dive in and blah, blah, blah.
Let's dive in.
Or it's not this, it's this.
You still have to edit it,
yeah. So I think I took some piece, I took the, want to schedule a call and chat more about it so we can get you in, let me know. Like I know that I use the ending. I always like to end it with
just moving it up so you guys can kind of see the text a little better. There we go.
I know I always try to end the message with a question.
Should we try right now?
Sure.
Okay. So
what are we
give me an objection. Like, why did you guys not, like, hey, I couldn't come because of blank, or I don't know. I'm trying to figure out We need to go against the call to action here. Or rather, who you guys have an event coming up next? Susan, yeah? Do you want to tell us what it is real quick?
Yeah, so we're doing a workshop next week. Gist of it is helping people turn their expertise into a high value, high profit digital product.
Who's the customer that you want?
Content creators, YouTubers. Objection that we, again, you know that we're like new to this. Objection that we plan to run into is they're like, well, I don't know that I have enough knowledge to create a program out of it.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you tell ChatGPT? We're talking to it right now.
Oh, another objection would be, well, why don't I just go the seemingly easy route and just get a bunch of sponsorships and brand deals instead of going through all the effort of creating a program and then I have a business and then I have to run it. Another one is, well, I've never sold to my audience before and I don't want to look like a sellout to my audience.
What else would you say to it?
Let's just see what that comes back with. So that's going to write it all out.
The voice is so much more powerful than typing.
Talk to ChatGPT. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say, can you write an outbound DM script to someone that should be in this event and write it with a personal, quirky voice. Don't be slimy. I'll just like say exactly what I'm thinking and then I'll probably go back and forth. Okay, so here's the deal. I'll never put that in a message.
Okay, so here's the deal. Running a workshop next week. High value. Think less hustle sponsorships. Thought immediately be real.
So I like the personality that's coming out around here.
I feel it's almost written more like an email than a DM,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I would almost take that as a DM. Spoiler alert. I mean, I'm not going to say that face to face. And DMs is like face to face speech.
But I'll
right?
take some pieces that I like here and be like, hey, I thought of you because, let's be real, you got
the chops. You ever said that in your life, Susan?
Here's the rub.
You got the chops. Someone's like, oh, I better get to that workshop. Do I even create? Do I know enough to create a program? Spoiler alert: you do. Boldly, I'd love to work with you. So what's interesting about AI is you kind of have to like make fun of it. Like I yell at it sometimes, like dummy. That's not what I said at all. Try it again, but stop being so weird. You know, like you kind of like it's almost like an employee that takes 1,000 times longer to learn a natural skill as a normal human being. As smart as it is, it's also really dumb. So that's just kind of how you talk with it. Do you guys use AI much yet? A few of you? And it's really good for this kind of stuff. And it's nuts because this is part of the reason I wanted to ask Marley to come up and kind of share this stuff. You do this every day. And Marley has talked to ChatGPT so much that out of the blue, she'll be like, what do you think my biggest threat is in my future? And
Oh my
because she's
gosh.
talked to it for so long, it's like, here's it. And we're like,
It's giving me
it's
therapy.
Like, yeah, pinch myself. It's really interesting. It just knows Marley so much. She uses it so much. A lot of the emails that I'm sending out right now are because Marley was like, hey, just come up with this prompt. And so that you can actually major in prompts now. Do you guys know that? AI prompts is like a whole degree. And so knowing how to talk to AI and using it in a business tense is a very, very real thing now. So that's part of the reason I wanted to go through this. So tell us what you're doing
Okay,
now.
so I just played around with it like, well, first of all, when I deleted some things, it deleted what the invitation was, so I had to go back and do that. Hey, I'm doing a workshop next week about turning your expertise into a high-value digital program. I thought of you immediately because I don't like this. Your brand is amazing. I wanted it to replace that. If you're thinking, do I know enough to create a program? Spoiler, you absolutely do. I'd love to work with you to create a clear plan for launching something epic. Can you make it? I would love to see you there. I'm still not in love with it yet because I want it to be more personalized. And so what I would probably do from this is I would take a specific name. So let's pretend that we're talking to our friend Corbin Maxey, who he has.
We're trying to get.
Yeah, he has an audience of 4 million people and
on YouTube.
Isn't selling like a digital product. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for Susan. So
that's what we're trying to tee up to right now.
Yeah.
He's the one that brings like animals out for all the little kids.
So cool. Okay, so I'm going to do this for. Hey, can you take this inspiration and turn it into a personal invitation for my friend Corbin Maxey? We've talked in the past about his business, that he has an audience of 4 million people that he's not monetizing, and I really believe that he's leaving money on the table. Can you turn that into an invitation for him to come to this workshop?
I also like it when you say things like, write it like I'm Dan Kennedy, and it will write it in the voice of Dan Kennedy or the voice of Russell or the voice like.
I also have a vault of my favorite prompts, like favorite voice prompts.
Really?
That I'll just keep using. Okay. Hey, Corbin, I'm hosting a workshop next week. I also think that I don't want to go straight into the I'm hosting a workshop next week.
Yeah, the ask is the
I would actually start with this. Corbin, dude, you've got an audience of 4 million people. 4 million. I genuinely believe there's a ton of untapped potential there. You're leaving money on the table, my friend. I'd love to help you change that. I'd probably just send that. I would just send that as message 1.
Yeah.
And let him respond. Or if he doesn't, then I would follow up with, well, what would I follow up with? Let's see if I can get some help here. He didn't respond.
So Marley will have this up
What can I
in
say?
live conversations while
Like
she's
a
with
quick
people
one-liner.
and continue to ask it. I'm trying to get this person to commit. I'm trying to get this person to act, but they said this. What should I say? And it's the craziest thing to watch because she's just using this epic tool, and it's like your marketing assistant in the moment, mid-conversation.
Yeah. Okay, so let's pretend he didn't respond. And then I said, he didn't respond. What can I say as a quick one-liner to bump it up and get his attention? Give me 5 options. Corbin, seriously, 4 million. Let's turn that into something epic. You in? Hey, just circling back. Who says circling back? Still think you're sitting on a gold mine here. Let's chat. I would probably just send that. Do you circle back?
I circle back.
Am I with a circle back person? Wow.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah, I circle back.
Dude, your 4 million audience is calling. Time to make it work for you. What do you think? Like, that's pretty, I think that's cool. I like that, how bold it is, and the confidence, the conviction in that. Hey, quick reminder, you got 4 million people waiting for you to sell them something awesome. Let's make it happen. Corbin, this is your nudge. 4 million. Do not leave this on the table. We're going to have to send him this podcast episode.
Yeah, we should. We love you, Corbin.
We love Corbin. Our kids love Corbin.
Yeah. So, okay. So then you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
And, it's interesting when you think about, like, half of what marketing is doing is getting someone's attention. But there's a lot of people that you can reach just by talking to them, right? So what do you do with this then? So you DM out to them. And it's not like you're babysitting your computer or phone all day.
No, I only check your messages twice a day.
Right. But like, isn't it funny that, so then you'll circle back the next day and you just progress down the next, like basically the next stage of the pipeline of the conversation.
Yeah.
They said this, now what? They said this, now what?
Yeah. So like, let's say if I sent this to, I sent the follow-up to Corbin of like, Corbin, 4 million. And did he read it or not? Then I'll follow up again. And I might take a different angle. Like this one was a little bit aggressive of like, Corbin, but there's also the conviction of, I know that I can help you. So are you asking me what would I say now?
Yeah. What would you take to start getting like actual commitment?
Okay. So let's say if he goes, what did you have in mind? Well, what do I have in mind? Let me think about it. Let me talk to ChatGPT about it.
And we could actually, Go
ahead.
We could actually make up like, what are some things that you would say to like try to smoke out?
Give me a scenario.
Yeah, like make it hard on this thing, you know? I'm not going to do it because, Susan, what would people say to you? Okay, I feel like I know enough and I've got an audience, solving the 2 hardest problems.
I don't want to sell.
Oh, yeah.
Contest, I don't want to sell.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I have had that objection. I had someone that was like, I lost email subscribers when I tried to sell. And I was like,
welcome to the game, son.
yeah.
Get rid of them if they're not buying.
Right, that's a
It's
good one, yeah.
It is opted out.
Make room for buyers.
Okay, Corbin responded, fake Corbin responded, if he's listening to the podcast, that he is cautious about doing this because he's tried something before, but he lost email subscribers. I want to respond to him to help validate that concern and reassure him that that's not a bad thing. And actually it happens all the time on the way to a very profitable outcome, and that the best thing that we could do is get on a call to talk about it further. Can you help me write a response for that?
Also write it in a way that doesn't put too much pressure on the point, because we don't want to make it a larger barrier than it actually is. If we put too much pressure on it, then it'll become a molehill to a mountain. So get past it and get straight back to the call to action of trying to work with them.
Love it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Is that the view? Kendra, can we get it back on us?
You get the... We just let Purdy today.
Yeah. Totally get where you're coming from. Losing email subscribers can feel like a step backward, but honestly, it's a natural part of the process when you're pivoting or dialing in something new. It's like pruning a tree. You lose a few branches, but the growth that follows is worth it. That's a great analogy. That's a good one. I might change a little bit of the tone so that it's
flowery.
not,
Yeah.
flowery. It's a tree. It's super. That said, I often delete just like the first part of sentences that ChatGPT says.
Super.
By the way, it's super common and not something to stress over. The key is making sure I think this is too much. I would probably go back to ChatGPT and say like, hey, make it more concise.
Actually, should we do that? See what it does?
Let's hop on a quick call to talk through it. Yeah.
Nobody hops on phones.
Just wanted to come on here. Well, people always say that. Let's make it more concise.
I love
And
letting out frustration
for
onto
it.
ChatGPT.
No, you hit the platonic landmass. Does anyone get that
You
reference?
moron! Why did you say that to me? I'll say that back to it.
Does
and I'll
anyone get
apologize.
hippoplatanic landmass? No, that's from The Princess Bride. Okay.
Say it a lot.
Concise and with authority, while still maintaining, whatever, humor. It knows what I'm saying when I spell it wrong. Okay. Totally get it. Losing email subscribers feels like a hit. I would probably just delete that whole part. Hey, you know what? It's actually super normal. It's kind of like pruning a tree. You trim a few branches and you actually get stronger growth and way more, I'd probably say, money. If you're open to it, I'd love to jump on a call and show you how we can make this really profitable for you without the guesswork.
Yeah.
What time works for you next week?
Yeah.
Always end with like an assumption.
Which is like sales 101 in general, right? And it's still true whether it's for getting more phone calls or developing a relationship, is that you handle the objection and go straight back to the call to action. If you stay on there, then you validate that their concern is actually a concern, right? So you have to say it and then get straight back. Otherwise, yeah, you're right. You are going to lose subscribers. Don't, right? Yeah, then it becomes something massive with it. So how do you use this then when reaching out to Robin Williams' kids, or it didn't work out, but you did fly out exclusively to meet with...
I can't say it.
No?
It hasn't happened yet, so I don't want to say it, but thank you.
But it's going to happen. We put it on out there. It's
yeah.
going to be big.
I'll talk about it later. I don't
your
always, that was a clue. Okay.
You'll see.
It was Johnny Depp. I had a meeting set up with Johnny Depp. Yeah. I know.
It's the Johnny Depp reference. oh, that guy, right?
Where's the rum gone?
Where's the rum gone?
Anyway, I don't always use ChatGPT for everything, but if I feel stuck or I'm like, how can I say this in a cool way, or how can I, but also I feel like doing this also teaches me how to say things in cool ways just naturally. Because if you're always relying on ChatGPT to respond to people, how do you talk to them in person? Yeah. But so a connection that, so I spoke at an event that Robin Williams' daughter-in-law was also speaking at. She had a beautiful story, and I recognized her even before she spoke, just because I've followed their story and the family. And I just approached her. I was like, I love your story. We have these things in common. Do you ever do podcast interviews? I'd love to have you on my podcast. And she was like, yeah, of course. And then we just kept in touch with that. I don't think I've actually used ChatGPT on that one because it was just a personal connection I made and didn't have as much. I feel like I go to ChatGPT when there's like objections to overcome that I need help with.
You also just said something I really want to break down that I think is part of the secret sauce and magic of what you do, which is that, did you hear what she just asked too? When she said about the podcast, do you see how she just phrased it? We do the same thing in funnels. We never ask a yes or no question in a funnel because we're giving them an option to say no. The decision trees inside of funnels are yes or yes, always. And so whenever someone has a headline that says, are you feeling this right now? Dumb hook. Because we literally have just given them the option to say no. Are you feeling this? If it's no, then this is not for you, right? Are you feeling this right now? And you see headlines that write this, feeling this way?
There's a YouTube ad
Don't do
that I
that.
keep getting retargeted by that it's like, need new windows for your house, but not sure if it fits your budget. And I'm like, no, every time I see it.
Dumb
no.
hook, waste of money. We never, ever, ever, ever in marketing say a yes or no decision tree. It's always yes or yes. What Marley said before she said the ask for the podcast, you said, hey, I don't know if you ever do podcast interviews. Right? You didn't say, will you be on my podcast? That's a yes, no, and it's the big ask first. Never do the big ask first. Instead, we start with the smalls, right? One of the reasons why Jake and I put a button that opens a pop-up is because that's a very different person filling out the form in Psyche than someone who's just filling out the form. The button is a micro yes. And so we're trying to get micro yeses in, as many micro yeses as we can before the big ask. Right. And so I've heard you do this multiple times. You're very assumptive, but in a positive way, where I'm like, man, I want to get someone to the event. You don't go out to say, want to come to my event. You are, there's some point of like, I don't know if you ever do podcast episodes. Right. And you're like, oh yeah, I do. Well, would you ever be interested in mine? You always, it's very artful the way you do it. You do it so naturally. You always give in conversation this little micro yes opportunity that makes the bigger one not so big.
I also go, if they say no, I go for the next yes. So for example, people that couldn't come to the event today was like it wasn't just like, okay, well, I failed, too bad. It wasn't just a no and the door is closed. It was, oh, that's too bad. We'd love to have you at the next one. Or even better, would love to have a call with you and chat about, however I can help you with your business. We have a mastermind. We have some spots open. Or some of the messages were, depending on what I knew about them, just to make it cater what I know their needs were, was, not sure if you know this, but Robbie Summers and I partnered on doing done-for-you sales. There's probably a few ways that we can help you get more sales in your business. Want to have a call about it?
Yeah, and then how many booked calls did you get from just this? I mean, it was mind-blowing. A lot of times we need more calls, but the shortest distance to getting booked calls is doing honestly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And it's so simple. Like, I call it my revenue routine, that I'm just doing minimum 5 outreach and then 5 follow-up, and I track them. And I've had the different ways that I've tracked them. You can have a CRM, you can just have a straight spreadsheet, Asana, just somewhere that you can keep notes and maybe have the link to their profile, and then just maybe even a date too of when to follow up. Like, if I sent a message to this fake Corbin here right now and he didn't, I might put a link or a comment of, let's respond on Monday. And then that way, when I go to my list, I'm like, what are all the dates in order that are due for a follow-up?
You got a pretty big list too. I mean, you work this thing. Just like, a salesperson is working a pipeline. I mean, you're working pre-pipeline. You're working this list out to fill the pipeline.
And you can have setters and closers that are doing the exact same thing. I just think that it's also helpful for you as the attractive character of your business to be making those personal connections and building those relationships, because they're going to choose who they work with based on people work with people they know. Yeah, no one like it. That sheet. We're going to transition just a little bit here, but what questions do you guys have? Like, do you see how this works right now? Do you see how this is like, you guys going to use ChatGPT to write scripts? And Claude's
yeah.
Great app. I mean, either of them work. Any of them work.
Yeah. There's some funny things that you helped me come up with in this thing. we were coming up. I should have gone to OfferMind. A picture of. I like to take all the losing candidates of whatever election is going on with quotes. I should have taken Steve's course.
Can I screen mirror?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's where we came. Why the socialists cross the road? Because everyone else was doing it, so it seemed fair. All right, go for it.
That one?
No. Hold, please. I bet I have to stop. Just 1 second. Now, this is a little ad brought to you by Apple for Silo.
We love that show.
That's a great show.
Show more?
There it is.
Oh, man, there we go.
Shazam.
So I will give you guys, this is just a very simple spreadsheet that you guys can use. I give it to all of our clients in a program we have called the Content Game. So you basically just put the name of the contact here, whatever avenue of communication you're having with them, link to the profile, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever access you're using. You can put notes in here. If you have other people that are on your team that are using this spreadsheet, you can also I'll go in here, status, and you can also add different statuses if you have different touch points you want to add in here, but those are pretty basic. Initial contact date, next follow-up date. So then what I do is I will sort by follow-up date. So it's like, okay, today's Thursday. I'm going to do all of the ones that I scheduled for myself to do today. CTA intention, like what I what the relationship I think is going to lead to, and then just other notes. And the other cool thing is like you could just duplicate this sheet and turn it into like, these are all my podcast leads, these are all my JV leads, these are all my client leads, and just keep building your leads like that. This is a very basic spreadsheet. You could totally have something with more functionality in a CRM software, but this is a great place to start.
Honestly, though, like, just to give you guys the gravity of how important it is to do this, this is the one thing that I see Russell continue to do. He has a new sheet per offer, and he'll make a list of anywhere from 400 to 1,000 people, and then he just starts working them. And that's like one of the things that he will do personally, besides ads, which he sends out to John Parks, and then a content, which is the content person. But the thing he's doing is this. He'll make podcast episodes randomly in his car, and he'll do this. And that's the reason why he is so known as well, is because he made himself known. He continues to introduce himself to others. It's a huge deal.
This is the kind of the daily power moves that I have my clients go through. And it's like every day, if all you do is just publish one piece of content, you're sending friend requests, you're starting conversations, you're leading to either a CTA or a booked call. And then we're tracking it every day, and we gamify it. So we're like, how many points did you get today? And then this is this is our daily revenue routine spreadsheet that we do like a little mindset in the morning. We call it the morning formula. You make a daily post, you do your money on the table leads, 5 outreach, you do your 5 follow-up, and then this is our end of the day kind of wrap up of you completed the game. You did everything on your revenue routine, and that consistency just compounds.
This is like finding those people who remember the pest control, like, oh my gosh, I'm calling you because I actually have ants in my pants and wasps in the walls, right? And we knew, again, that just going after, and when I was doing door-to-door sales, just knocking 100 doors a day, even a bad salesperson makes money. And it's like, this is the equivalent of that. We're just showing up and talking to people. Yes, do the broad blast emails and the broad post, all that stuff, but just the one-on-one piece that you do is very artful. So it's really powerful. What questions do you guys have? Yeah, we throw it over to Tyler here quick.
How important is response time when someone like DMs you back?
I mean, do your best. If it's a hot lead and they're like, yeah, let's book a call, I would love to be able to say like, great, here's my link, or as soon as you can, to keep that momentum.
I've lost a lot of money by waiting too long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have my notifications on, and I respond pretty quickly if I can, but also people have lives, and if they're a good lead, you just keep following up with them. I don't think you've lost them just because you didn't respond in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just keep following up.
I've had people who clearly should have bought, but because I followed up too quick, it spooked them also.
Too quick? Really?
Yeah. They were like, they thought they were being gamed a little bit or something, like. So I don't think that you should never not follow up as fast as possible, but I do think that making it seem realistic that, some people take a long time to pitch and repitch and follow up and follow up and follow up. What is it? And this is a proven stat. Is it I think it's 7 times before most people say yes. Mm-hmm. If the answer is truly no, they'll unsubscribe or just, you don't want to annoy them, but.
I actually have a lead that I'm continuously following up with. And I said something in my they haven't responded to several of my emails. And I'm at the point where I'm like, am I being annoying that I'm responding so much? But I just ended my last email with, I sent another email with overwhelming social proof. Hey, last time we talked, you said that you wanted this. Here's a result that we just got. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I swear, just give me 30 days. I'm about to blow your mind. And then I ended it with let me know your thoughts, where you're at. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to keep following up because I assume you just love these emails.
That's what you're writing during lunch, right?
Yeah, actually, no, that was another one. I had a lead. I have a lead that keeps saying next month, next month, next month. And I asked ChatGPT, I was like, write me a ridiculously aggressive response to this just to see what it came up with. And it was like, next month, what is this? Because the reason why they keep moving it forward is because they said that they're terminating their previous relationship with a vendor. And I was like, what is this? A Taylor Swift breakup album?
It was hilarious.
Why is this taking so long? And I didn't actually send it, but I just thought it was really funny.
I think that's the beauty of this, though, is that in a sea of vanilla continued responses and follow-ups,
just
make it
back,
unique.
Just following up.
Bump.
Yeah.
Is something okay?
Yeah. Are we okay? It's like,
I hate that.
So I always love to respond with humor, and especially just by saying by me saying, I'm just going to keep following up because I assume that you, until you tell me no, I assume that you love these emails. So I'm also giving them an out. If you tell me no, I will stop. But then I'm also going to be humorous about the fact that I know I'm following up with you a lot. And I'm just going to own that. You're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you responding? Are you like DMing more people who were leads, like say opted in to your funnels, and then you're kind of following up with them, or are you like just people who have never heard of you? To what degree do they know you?
I always go for the lowest hanging fruit first. So most of the time, I'm talking to people that I have a relationship with, or they've engaged with my content in some way. And the cold people that I might reach out to might be people that are like podcast intros or something, like someone that I want to be on the podcast. But because there's a lot of opportunity already with warm people, I don't need to start with cold people. Like if you just go with all your warm people while you're also still creating content, that's going to keep turning the cold into warm. Like let the content be the traffic to increase their temperature. My order in temperature is like people who bought from me in the past, people who've opted in, people who have recently bought something low ticket, and I'll just follow up with them. Like I see that they bought from an ad yesterday, I'll follow up the next day. People that have engaged with my content, meaning like they've commented, they've responded to emails, they've started following me recently. People in my Facebook group.
It's like the content is really what's taking the cold to the warm.
Yeah.
But when people try to do it with ads, it's so fast. It's too fast for the conversion to happen.
The people that I might reach out to that are cold, and I'll give you an example, like several years ago, Alex Sharfin, who at the time was teaching operations. I was binge listening to his podcast and loved him so much. And I was like, I want to be friends with this guy. Like I listen to his podcast, everything he's saying, it's like he's in my brain. How do I know him personally? How can I do that? And so first I just kind of started by commenting on his stuff a lot, genuinely, not just like, great post, I agree. Like the stuff that you just ignore because it's vanilla.
Love the content.
So great.
Hate that word, content.
And then I would share his content with my genuine response to it. And I think that people also, like, that's another level when people are sharing your content, because then it's like, they're also helping me to get my message out and they believe in my message. Or I would make a piece of content referencing something of his, because it was not like, I loved when he talked about treating yourself as $1 million racehorse, or multiplication by subtraction. Like those are things that I've talked about a lot in my business that I learned from him, that then I would make a piece of content around and say like, I learned this from Alex Sharfin and it changed my life. That's a much different impact than just someone that just continuously commenting and being passive. Now I'm like also showing that how he's made an impact and sharing it with other people. So I feel like they would start to notice that more. Then I bought something of Alex's and gave a really great testimonial. And that's how I think I like moved up in the awareness of who, like for me in his mind, me being cold to then like, now he knows who I am. And then I think there was just a switch from me being like an observer, a commenter, a sharer, a buyer, a great testimonial, and now we have a relationship. And then we had a birthday party together because of the same birthday party.
Yeah.
I went from like passive listener to like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be his friend, and now we have joint birthday parties.
Yeah. One of the so we'll go just a little bit more here, but we have several ways that we're going to continue to grow the Rare Things show, and we're psyched about that. And we've both been podcasters and YouTubers for 8 years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways to grow them. There's things that work and things that don't. What do you think? What do you think is going to be the best approach to getting bigger and bigger people on the show with outreach?
Ooh, well,
that's one of the biggest things actually Titans have asked me is how do I reach out to really, really massive people? And I have my own answer for it, but you're also a genius at this.
Well, actually, you asked this on the podcast episode that's coming out next week, where you were like, how do you do this? And I was like, here's the secret. You ready? I literally just ask. I ask, like whether I ask them directly or I ask someone that knows them. Like I just emailed Daniel Priestley, who wrote the book Oversubscribed. We love this book.
Such a good book.
And he has a great software that we love. And I also recently met his business partner. So I'm like, oh, we're in circles. And then I had a friend that works with Daniel Priestley. I'm like, I would love to have him on my podcast. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll just make the connection right now. What's that 6 degrees of separation thing? Like you're one introduction away. And whether it's you just introducing yourself, and if you introduce yourself genuinely to be like, hey, just wanted to say hi, like as a real human, I love your content. The 7-11-4 principle that you've shared, that like I devoured the book. Yeah. I share that principle with my clients. I would love to have you on our podcast so that I could, I'd love to get to spend some time with you personally and then share more of your content with my people. I know it's going to be so valuable. Would you be open to that? Like, why would, if they're unavailable, fine. But like, I think that's a pretty genuine ask. And if it doesn't get through because maybe they, their messages are inundated or they don't have someone to read their messages for them, then I'll just keep trying. A no isn't a no. It just leads to the next yes.
Yeah. And if someone if someone does say actually no, I mean, what's funny is like Russell told me no the first time. He doesn't actually know this. So I was building funnels for companies. I was not working at ClickFunnels at this time. And my first funnel micro little success started happening, right? And I started seeing it happening. I was in the Army. I was reading .com secrets literally out in the dirt with an M16. And then every time, anyway, that's a crazy story. But that's how I read it. And so I started applying it. And I was super excited about all the principles that were in there. And so I built this little tiny funnel, and I was like, out of just a long shot, I wonder if Russell would respond. He's the only person I knew of in my entire life that was doing this stuff. No one else in my circles was doing that kind of stuff. And so I sent him a message on Facebook, a little DM, and I said, hey man, just want you to know, even if nothing else happens, these principles from your book has already changed my life. He responded, and he was like, hey, thanks, that's awesome, huh? And I was like, oh my gosh, Russell Brunson said that. I almost put a poster of him up on my wall. I'm really glad I did because that's really awkward. Guess what? And I just like vomited on him, right? I was like, check out this page and this page and this page and this page. And understandably, he didn't respond anymore after that. But the thing that I learned after this really changed my life is I decided that this is a key thing to understand. If you're trying to get the attention of somebody really big and they're not giving you the time of day, what you do is you have their audience deliver you to them.
Oh.
And so what I did is I decided at that time there's only 25,000 people in the Facebook group for ClickFunnels. And so what I did is I made the commitment with myself that I was going to pretend like I was ClickFunnels support. And so for the next 6 months, every time someone asked a question inside of the ClickFunnels Facebook group, I went and I read the support doc and I tagged it and put it back over there. And so much so that people thought I was support. So I was doing it between classes. That's why I knew it so well after a while. I read all the support docs. What was crazy is fast forward 6 months of me doing that. I started, people started tagging me in things. So the audience delivered me to him. Does that make sense? It's very easy to go do that. Just become the side wing of whoever, and just add tons and tons of value like that. But it works.
I think that's how people also get on the stages that they want to get on. Like we've been asked, how do you get on stage at Funnel Hacking Live? Like, yes, you can make it known that you want to be on that stage, but also it's how do you show up for the community that makes it a very obvious reason why a promoter of an event or whatever would say, like, yeah, of course I want them because they're giving value already, and it's great for the community for them to have this platform. And so I think when we look at Russell and how he chooses people to speak at Funnel Hacking Live, it's like the people that are going to give the most back to the community. And then that reminded me, I asked Russell to speak at my event, and this was before I really knew Russell very well, so it wasn't an easy just call up Russell, be like, hey, I'm doing an event, would you do me a favor and speak at it? I got his attention by making a song.
I remember that. Yeah, okay, yeah.
And we made a music video to ask him to speak at my event, and it went mini viral within our community, that then everyone was tagging Russell, Russell, you got to speak at this event.
What is your answer? Are you going to say yes to him? So now all the audience is asking Russell to come speak to it again too. That was awesome.
It worked.
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Christy Code Red in that one too. That was fun.
Yeah.
I was playing the ukulele.
Yeah. I did a rap music video and I did a ukulele music video. I did 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
Both asking.
Yeah. And he said yes.
Have fun with it. It's interesting because you realize that big influencers, they're pitched 24/7, right? And so if you just make the act of being pitched more interesting than the next person,
Oh yeah,
a lot
that's
of
a great
times,
way to put it.
a lot of times it's all it takes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like the interview, someone interviewed me last week. It was such a good interview, or just a few days ago. I don't remember. It was such a good interview because he didn't ask me the same questions that every single person asks me. How'd you get started? Wow, was that crazy? What was it like when it was crazy? What would you say to people if they were you right now? Where can people follow you? It's the same 5 freaking questions every time we interviewed. And so anytime someone comes up, and I've been like 500 interviews now, you know, and it's like, it's the same thing with the pitch piece. Just make it interesting. What's novel? What's unique? One time I wrote an entire webinar and delivered it to Russell like I was Claude Hopkins' Gross of Christmas Fast style, and acted like it was Claude Hopkins, some famous marketer from the 1900s, 1800s-ish era. And I was like, Russell, you should speak at Steve's event. And I wrote a whole webinar and pitched him. You know, just
Dramatic demonstration.
crazy.
Yep.
So like, but I didn't want to make an emotional withdrawal from the emotional bank account of the friendship. Right? Which is really important too. Like, I have bled for my audience. And if someone comes up and goes, got a great opportunity here for you. And I'm like, I already have one. You know what I mean? Worst way to approach somebody. You have to always think what they're going to get and pitch it from their eyes and put aside all the benefit you're going to get by working with someone big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Right here for Eric.
So this is probably really going back to basics, but I'm super curious about something that you guys said. You were talking about the fact that, yeah, we need to connect with people emotionally, but you said, don't use hooks like this where you say, are you feeling tired or burned out or fill in the blank, whatever it is. Can you give us some examples of hooks that you like that connect with people who have a certain pain point but aren't yes or no?
Got a 2-hour presentation on that very thing. Yeah. A hook is something that gets someone to raise their hand and say, tell me more. That's all it really means. It took me a long time to figure out what a hook is, because there's not really a good definition for it, which is why it's going in the book. Most people are just like, it's the thing that gets attention. But I hate that definition because I could slap you and have your attention, but you know, you wouldn't say, tell me about your offer. So it's specifically hand raises that are saying, tell me about your offer. I'm interested. I think I have wasps in my walls. And
And there's stakes.
What's
There's
that?
raised stakes to it.
Yeah. So what you do is you deliver in a story where the stakes are continually being raised. I wish I had a few pulled up here. Maybe we can go through a little later. But I do it from a really broad stroke, let's study a whole market method. And I really love that what Marley does with it is she gets it down to an individualized level as well. We both have different approaches to the same thing, I feel like. You just reach out, though, and just ask. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. And a lot of it is either leading back to a sales call where then I can continue to like connect with them face to face, or just qualifying them in that DM to be like, here's a video, or here's a course, or here's a webinar or a training or something that I can just keep serving them. Because again, going back to like the basic of business is caring about someone enough to know their problem and helping them to find the solution.
Like the hook with the Corbin Maxey one that you just wrote.
Yeah.
Is
Dude, you have 4 million subscribers.
Yeah.
I can't believe that you're not monetizing it.
It's a vision painting hook.
Yeah.
Right, which is a great one to do with people who are big. You're a visionary, let me vision with you. Imagine if you could. Right? They love that.
Yeah.
That's a good angle to take on it.
And also to know, to know that that's their concern, whether it's they've opted in for something that you've put out previously, so you know that they have interest in it. In the Corbin example, we've talked to Corbin about it. I know that he said, I have 4 million subscribers. What else could I be
feel
doing
like I
that?
should sell something.
I feel
We're
like, yeah. And then we're like, you don't have an email list?
Do you want to retire immediately? You should do what we're saying in this. Yeah, so the hook piece, though, is definitely the hardest part. And I can go through it, with some other stuff on that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to understand, though, just on that note, and actually ties really well into this, that a hook is very different than a sales message. And where people get things like DMs wrong is what they're leading with in DMs is the sales message. The sales message involves the pitch. It involves the ask, right? And I'm not saying you have to take all this time to get to the ask. Marley gets to the ask. but it's not the hook. They're two totally different things, right? So the hook is very much the thing saying, you know, I'll open this. I read the preview of the DM. You guys do that before you choose to open something? I always do that. I read the preview of the DM. All right, I see who it's from. Maybe that's a hook enough for me to open it up. And then once they're in, slight reference to the hook, and now we're actually in the ask. But where I see people mess up the two is they do the hook and the sales message as one thing, and they're two very different things. A way to think of it is kind of like, you know, in marketing, we're only ever selling the single next action, right? So the purpose of the subject line is to do what? Open the email. But a lot of times the people use the subject line and they're selling the call to action. It's like, no, the only purpose of that subject line is to get people to open the email. What's the purpose of the headline?
To get them to keep reading.
Get them to keep reading, right? And then what's the purpose of the copy on the button? Get them to click. But what you see a lot of people, especially when they're amateurs, what they do is in the email, they're actually selling like 4 steps forward on 2 pages into the funnel. You know what I mean? Wondering how come no one's taking action. And so like, you're always selling the single next action, never 2 ahead. It's too much for the head to conceive. And it's the same thing with the DMs, as you're opening up and you're saying, or how do I get them to open this thing? And really it's, how do I get them to commit to a conversation, right? How do I get them to even think or play with the idea of going to the event or the workshop or whatever?
And I think what's going to make that DM convert so much easier is that they're seeing consistent organic content from you too.
Yeah.
Because we talked about like, what do we send to cold people? Well, I don't want to go for cold people because that's a lot heavier of a lift.
It's hard.
I let my content do the heavy lifting for me that is broad to reach one to many. But then in the individual DMs, that's where I need to make them feel personalized.
I love that. Yeah. Any other last questions, sir?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, over to Jared.
Marley,
3:30, I'm good.
it seems like it could be a busy task for you navigating through Instagram DMs, Facebook DMs, X, whatever it is. Do you choose one platform or you just go wherever people are comfortable?
I spend a little bit of time on, well, I don't spend too much time on X, so I'm just on Facebook and Instagram. So Facebook Messenger, I'll respond to or do DMs there, and Instagram. That's it.
Seems like for content production, like YouTube's the base, but for DMs, Facebook is the base.
Well, and I think it's where you're most active, because that's where you're going to be having the conversations with people is where you're active. Like I wouldn't be sending DMs on X where I'm not consistent and I'm not putting my energy there, but I'm consistent on Facebook and Instagram. And I have people doing outreach to me or asking me questions or opting into things on Facebook and Instagram. So that's where my lowest hanging fruit is, because that's where my attention is for organic.
Yeah.
So I'll ask one as I'm the number 2, right? Do you ever consider outsourcing that portion to somebody on your team? Because you said you do all of it. And so my question is like, would you ever have a next in command take that if you have other tasks? Yeah,
definitely. And I think that this is a really important thing for you to have setters and outreach people that are doing that. But I also think that it is important for you, whoever is the attractive character or the leader of the business, to still have a pulse on real connections with real people. I remember one of the toughest times in my business was when I kind of became entitled to, oh, well, I've grown and now I don't have to do these things anymore. And you will never overcome something that you feel entitled to. So I was like, I don't have to do sales anymore. And this person's doing my copywriting and I don't have to do this. And then I completely lost touch with the business. The salesperson wasn't selling because I wasn't injecting my energy into the market or building relationships with people. And I ended up having to fire all of them because we weren't making enough money anymore. And there's probably other systems that I could have improved it, made it better. But regardless, I just feel like you need to have a pulse on your audience, your community, whether that's through your organic content, you're responding in the comments, or you are doing some DM outreach because it could also be talking to your clients, and maybe it's your team's job that's doing the social media outreach and the emails and the outbound, whatever. But I never want to lose a pulse on the community and what the market needs. And that's going to, I think, come from me actually being in conversation with people individually.
It's such a key thing too. I mean, Gary Vee even says and cites that one of the reasons he became Gary Vee as we know now he spent like 7 years responding to every comments, responding to every, and it's not himself, Now he's got huge teams and stuff, but it does seem like at some point you got to lay a base, especially if you're trying to solve the obscurity problem. People don't really know who you do, what you're doing, or you know what I mean. I think there's just certain aspects with it. As far as the pipeline goes, yeah, get it off your shoulders. But this is like the one-on-one part that really matters still.
Yeah. And again, talking to the lowest hanging fruit, go for the lowest hanging but highest leverage fruit.
Yeah. So it's not like you're not doing it to everybody all the time. You are choosing the cream of the crop and choosing, hey, I better engage with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
But also in that communication, if there's someone that is, okay, so let's say I sell a high ticket thing and there's someone that's like just starting their business, I can direct them to a YouTube video, but I'm probably not going to do as much consistent follow-up as someone that I'm like, this is a done-for-you client that's going to pay me $100,000.
Yeah. They're going to need a touch from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyler, there'll be a last question right here.
Yeah, so that's that. I guess that kind of already answered my question, but I was just kind of curious, like when you do the sales versus someone else. Because when you're DMs, but I guess that kind of already answered it. You're only going to be DMing someone that's on the higher end of the spectrum, or at least for like pitching them a sales call. And at that point, you would take the call.
Maybe.
Or it just depends.
Sometimes it is better to have someone else take the sales call for positioning.
Yeah.
And also what your process is. Like, I can do sales calls, and I'm good at them.
Yeah, you are.
But also, if I have a team and the process is going well and I know that they're going to be in good hands, maybe even better hands than if I did it, so that it also frees me up to be creating curriculum or creating content, then that's good. But also if I do have a relationship with them that I'm like, no, I don't want to pass them off. This is important to me that I continue this relationship, then I'll take it. So it's kind of a case by case basis.
Yeah. And I would also say that like the core offer, like I've lost more money by trying to handle sales myself than trying to bring in a sales team. If I look backwards, it's like clearly, a lot of it is just that positioning thing. It's like, well, I'm already talking to you right now, so why should I pay? You know what I mean? It creates a really weird relationship when you're the setter and the closer and the onboarding and the coach and the face and support and fulfillment. And it's like, it's weird. It creates a weird experience. It's like you wouldn't expect Jeff Bezos to pick up the phone because your Amazon order was wrong. You know what I mean? Like there is absolutely something to the positioning piece of having someone else pitch for you. But if it's really high ticket, like what we have set up now with Robbie is that he goes and pitches. And then if it's someone for a really high ticket thing, I obviously have the final say. So then they'll do a final interview with me. He's still the one selling it, but I'm going to do the final christening that I agreed to move forward.
And you do a great job of transitioning the authority. So if someone sees you on stage, Robbie's been introduced and it's like, hey, you guys can have a call with Robbie. And they already know Robbie. So it's not like, oh, who's this schmuck that I got to talk to? It's like, we love Robbie.
Yeah.
Of course I want to get on a call with Robbie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Robbie's not a schmuck. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, guys, has this been good? Been helpful? Hopefully some good insights came from this. And I think a lot of power comes from just, 80% of healing is awareness. So if there's a problem you've been having on this, just being aware of how this stuff happens and how it's actually quite simple. That's why I wanted to have this conversation. So awesome. Very cool. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Marley. Appreciate it. Give Marley a round of applause.